All Elite Wrestling, once hailed as the revolutionary alternative, is crumbling right in front of our eyes. Shrinking audiences, a decline in viewership, controversies left and right, and wrestlers leaving are all happening because of Tony Khan, the very founder and owner of the company. He is destroying his own creation. In this video, I will break down how. The most obvious and overlooked reason is the fact that Tony wears many hats, and it is overwhelming him. For starters, he is the CEO, responsible for the overall business operations of AEW, including securing television deals, managing budgets, handling talent contracts, overseeing touring schedules, among other things. He is also the head of creative, arguably the most demanding and impactful role in a wrestling promotion, responsible for crafting all storylines, character arcs, match outcomes, and overall narrative direction across multiple weekly shows such as Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, and quarterly pay-per-views. He's reportedly a hands-on boss, writing shows and approving all televised segments. This requires a constant flow of fresh ideas, meticulous planning for long-term arcs, and the ability to adapt to unforeseen circumstances like injuries or talent departures, while maintaining narrative coherence. It's a lot of work, and it's clear that the pressure is getting to him. Abrupt starts and stops in storylines, a lack of clear direction and narrative coherence. These are clear signs of someone doing a lot of things and not being good at all of them. The company is suffering because the person running it is constantly juggling many responsibilities. Tony sold disgruntled ex-WWE wrestlers a lie. The allure of All Elite Wrestling for many was the promise of a fresh start, a place where creative shackles would be removed, where their in-ring prowess would be highlighted, and where they would truly be treated as stars rather than commodities in a highly centralized system. Tony and the early messaging of AEW often emphasized this wrestler-friendly environment, which directly contrasted with the perceived micromanagement and inconsistent booking of WWE under Vince McMahon. However, for a significant number of these high-profile acquisitions, the reality has fallen short of the initial promise, leading to palpable frustration and a sense of a lie being sold. While some ex-WWE talents like Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson have thrived in AEW, a substantial number have seen their initial momentum dissipate, leading to underutilization and frustration. This is where the lie becomes evident, as the promised opportunities didn't materialize for everyone. Miro arrived in AEW shedding the Rusev Day gimmick that became popular organically in WWE but was ultimately stifled. Fans anticipated a return to his dominant, monster heel persona, or at least a consistent, prominent role. After an initial awkward gamer gimmick, Miro did find success as the Redeemer TNT champion, showcasing his power and intensity. However, his booking then became incredibly sporadic. He would disappear for long stretches, often due to creative issues or injuries, despite being clearly popular and capable of delivering compelling performances. There were rumors and reports of creative differences, with Miro pitching ideas that weren't utilized. His talent and charisma were undeniable, but he was never consistently featured as a main event player, despite a significant portion of the fan base seeing him as worthy. His eventual departure in early 2025 underscored the unfulfilled potential. Andrade and Malachi Black, to name a few, also suffered more or less similar fates. Bookings plagued by a lack of consistent direction, they both returned to WWE. The struggles of these and other wrestlers, such as Buddy Matthews, Ruby Soho, and, at times, even FTR, point to systemic issues within AEW that contradict the initial promises. Tony constantly signing people has led to a bloated roster. Signing numerous talented individuals led to a simple problem: not enough TV time for everyone. Even with multiple shows, there are only so many hours in a week, and many wrestlers inevitably get left off. As mentioned, Tony wears many hats, an approach that has likely contributed to an inconsistent creative vision. Without a dedicated team effectively managing long-term storylines for a vast roster, even top talent finds themselves with uninspired booking. The departure of Cody Rhodes from All Elite Wrestling in February 2022 was not just a roster change. It was, for many, a significant turning point and arguably one of Tony Khan's biggest strategic missteps. Cody wasn't just a wrestler. He was one of the founding executive vice presidents, EVPs, a public face during the company's inception, and a crucial bridge between the hardcore independent wrestling scene and a more mainstream audience. His departure and subsequent rise in WWE have only magnified the perceived oversight by AEW management. The fact that Cody Rhodes is now arguably the biggest star and their primary competitor is a constant, visible reminder of a missed opportunity for Tony. In hindsight, Tony's decision, or inability, to keep Cody is a profound miscalculation. While no one can predict the future, Cody's trajectory since leaving AEW has made him the undeniable face of a new generation of wrestling, a position that many argue he should have been allowed to achieve at the top of AEW. His absence is a constant reminder of the company's early promise and the challenges it faces in fulfilling its potential. One of the most damaging blows to All Elite Wrestling's image, and perhaps Tony Khan's most glaring mistake in talent management, was his failure to effectively handle the controversies surrounding CM Punk, ultimately leading to Punk's termination in September 2023. This situation is particularly critical because CM Punk, since his highly anticipated return to WWE in late 2023, has seemingly avoided similar backstage drama, indicating a stark contrast in management styles and environments. Since his shocking return to WWE, Punk's tenure has been remarkably devoid of the public backstage drama that plagued his AEW run. There have been no reported physical altercations. Punk's promos and segments have been integrated seamlessly into WWE's programming. Any real-life tension, e.g. with Drew McIntyre or Seth Rollins, has been clearly a part of the on-screen storyline, managed within the confines of kayfabe. We, under the leadership of Triple H, has successfully integrated Punk into their main event picture, allowing him to cut impactful promos, engage in high-profile feuds, even through injury, and maintain a significant on-screen presence, all without the accompanying behind-the-scenes chaos. The juxtaposition of CM Punk's tumultuous AEW run versus his relatively drama-free WWE return is a critical indictment of Tony Khan's management. It suggests that Khan lacks conflict resolution skills. The public nature of the Punk controversies brought immense negative attention to AEW, overshadowing its positive developments and creating an impression of backstage chaos. Losing a star of Punk's magnitude, especially under such circumstances, was a significant blow to the company's credibility and public perception. At the end of the day, the trajectory, culture, and ultimate success or failure of any organization, regardless of its industry, be it a tech giant, a retail chain, or a professional wrestling promotion, rests squarely on the shoulders of its leadership. The leader sets the vision, makes the critical decisions, shapes the working environment, manages resources, and ultimately dictates how the company responds to challenges and capitalizes on opportunities. A strong leader inspires confidence, maintains focus, fosters a healthy internal environment, and strategically navigates the competitive landscape. Conversely, ineffective leadership characterized by poor decision-making, inconsistent vision, internal strife, or an inability to adapt can erode even the most promising ventures from within. Tony Khan, as the founder, owner, CEO, general manager, and head of creative of All Elite Wrestling, is undeniably the single most powerful figure in the company. He built AEW from the ground up, fueled by passion and a genuine desire to offer an alternative. However, the very passion and ambition that launched AEW now appear to be contributing to its decline. By wearing too many hats, Khan has spread himself dangerously thin. Allowing a foundational pillar and undeniable mainstream draw like Cody Rhodes to leave and subsequently become arguably the face of WWE was a profound miscalculation. The public, acrimonious departures of CM Punk, punctuated by highly damaging backstage altercations, were a direct indictment of Tony Khan's ability to manage diverse personalities and control a locker room. The increasing prevalence of storylines that start with great promise, but then lead nowhere, mirrors the very criticism AEW once leveled against WWE. And at the heart of these issues lies Tony Khan's leadership. His admirable passion for wrestling is undeniable, but the dream of AEW, meticulously built to be different and better, is now being chipped away by his inability to see his errors and adapt.